Ladies and gentlemen, it's official. We've gotten to a point where the world is so screwed that people in America are basically paying to work. And it's honestly mind-boggling that the system hasn't collapsed yet.
Land of the free. Yeah, right. More like modern day slavery. Here's how my typical week goes. Wake up at 8 a.m., spend my hard earned money on gas just to kiss up to some clueless manager who's just as financially screwed as the rest of us. They're happy because they're the token employee, but still making these corporate overlords richer. Work 8 to 10 hours a day, come home, and maybe, just maybe, get an hour or two to myself. Then it's time for bed, only to do it all over again the next day. Let's break down the numbers. $19 per hour at 80 hours equals $1,520. Taxes, Social Security, $94.24, which I probably won't even see when I hit 60. I'm in my 20s now. Medicare tax, $22.04 federal income tax, $182.40. Total deductions, $298.68. That leaves me with $1,222. And guess what? That's gone on rent, food, gas, internet, phone, and if you have a kid, forget about it. Basically, I'm working 80 hours for nothing. What's the point of making $19 an hour if you never actually get to enjoy and see any of it? And you make these millionaires and billionaires wealthier while they rob you and make you a slave.
This Reddit post is 1,000% accurate, and yet another example of how Gen Z is so smart for seeing through this bullshit. The only disagreement I have is that this post actually didn't take it far enough. It's actually even worse than this post suggests, and here's why. Rent and car expenses are two things that are indirectly work-related expenses, when you think about it. Everyone knows in America you need a car to get to work. People won't hire you at all if you don't have a car. Rent is also a work-related expense, when you consider that you probably have to rent a place in the city where the rent is substantially higher when you're a young person who has to work. Those two things alone already eat up the remaining $1,200 or so this guy has left over. So, when you factor in taxes, rent, and car expenses, it probably literally costs more to have a job than the job pays you. Keep in mind as well, this guy isn't a $7.25 minimum wage worker who just got out of high school. He's a 27-year-old who's making $20 an hour, meaning he likely has some skills and experience. And even for him, the job itself costs more than it pays you. We're not even talking about all your other necessary bare minimum living expenses here. We're only talking about how much the job itself actually costs. Is it any wonder why young people don't want to work? What's the point when you can't even make enough money to pay for the job itself? I remember back when I was first applying for jobs in this giga-fucked economy. For a goddamn minimum wage job, they wanted me to have a car and drive out 45 minutes for 3 separate interviews. They also wanted me to wear a nice formal outfit that, of course, I was supposed to pay for myself. I also had to pay for a phone plan and internet service so that I could communicate with my boss. I remember calculating that it would cost me around $3,000 total just to apply for a job that paid $7 an hour. When you do the math and divide 3,000 by 7, I would have had to work 428 hours, or 10 and a half weeks, just to pay back what it cost me to get the job. At that point, I just said, fuck this, took the $3,000 and booked a one-way ticket out of the country. And I encourage all you to do the same, or find some other way to check out of society, which you can check out our Check Out of Society tier list video for. With how much they screwed over our futures, they don't deserve our work or contributions.